Welcome back to Vintage Story, and I'm going to talk to you about rifts. We have a lot more information on them and how they work, and they have been changed slightly. So first of all, let's look at the H button, and if you go into temporal, right, we've got temporal gear. Let's go for guides. And we go to game mechanic temporal stability. Now it explains temporal stability, but if you go to the bottom, Tyron has added something on rifts. He said that rifts are portals to the rust world that appear at random on the surface, which spawn drifters and cause your temporal stability to drop greatly when up close. They disappear on their own after 1 or 2 in-game days. The amount of appearing rifts depend on the current global rift activity. Torchlight currently defers rift appearances in case you want to make your base more rift-proof. It's not just torchlight, it's lanterns as well. Right, so we now have a little bit more information on rifts. Now, when he was talking about the rift activity, if you press C, current rift activity low. So we still have calm, which is no rift activity, low rift activity, which I have at the moment. And as you can see, I have no rifts that I can see. But we go from there to medium. Now, I haven't been through high or apocalyptic yet. So we have that to look forwards to. Now, the other thing that Tyron said, in answer to a question of mine, I asked whether rift activity was linked to areas of temporal instability and whether it was linked to temporal storms. Tyron told me that rifts are not linked to areas of temporal stability or instability. And if you don't know what those are, if you look at the cogwheel on the bottom of the screen that's just hovering above my hotbar, mine is sort of slightly to the left, slightly to the right, so I'm in a neutral area of temporal activity. If my cogwheel was going clockwise, I would be in an area of positive temporal stability. If it's going anti-clockwise, I'm in an area of negative temporal stability. And if your wheel goes too far to the negative and you go down too low, then you will enter the rust world. So when we are considering where to put our bases, we've always looked at temporal stability to say, is it neutral, which mine is, fine. Is it positive, fine. But if it's negative, it does cause you a little bit of a problem ongoing. That still applies, and the rifts are totally separate from that. I thought that rift activity might be linked to temporal storms, so that as the rift activity builds up, the storm grows. It's not linked. So again, temporal storms are a totally different issue. So we've now got 4 points to look at for temporal stability. 1, is your area temporally stable? 2, in underground, the deeper underground you get, the more temporally unstable you get. And if you're in an area of temporal instability anyway, you will very rapidly find yourself with a wheel that is going anti-clockwise very negatively, and you're heading towards the rust world. 3, temporal storms, wherever you are, will sweep through. You are no longer able to sleep through them. So they will sweep through and you can't sleep. So you have to pillar up. So constantly I'm going to carry with me blocks of soil. It's the only way to avoid being killed again and again, I think. And if you do get caught out without soil, you will get killed by the drifters in them unless you have superb armour and much better fighting techniques than I have. And then the fourth one we have are the rifts sweeping through. So areas of temporal stability, depth, temporal storms and rifts. Now there's a huge advantage to the change in mechanism to rifts. Looking at this area, it's gorgeous, and what I don't have now is this constant spawning of drifters every single night which just surround your property, moan at you and drop nothing. Now we have rifts that come at intervals, but you can see as the rift activity is building up, the drifters are much more dangerous, but they're not there constantly. And personally, I really like this change. I think it's a huge improvement. Now, the appearance of rifts has also changed. Look at this clip showing their appearance. Well, guys, I and many other people asked Tyron if he'd have a look at the way the rifts looked, because they were just a brown stain. Look at this behind me. Let's go and have a closer look. Now, as we go closer to the rift, can you see the temporal gear just about this distance starting to waver, and as we get closer it will go negative. Look at that. Wow, that is so much better a look. Wow, can I capture that? I hope so. Look at it. It now throws out wonderful lightning. That looks much better. Excellent. Good. And look at my temporal gear. Oh, I'm going into the rust world. Do not go any closer. Do not go any closer. But that's a much better look. Throwing out lightning. I love it.